Star Citizen Alpha 3.12 is playable in the live environment for a few days now, and some server instabilities aside that seem a little worse than in 3.11, it looks like a beautiful patch. The new gas clouds do their part in making this patch a beautiful one, and in those clouds you'll find the updated Lagrange stations and their new Refinery Decks. You can visit these now, but they're a lot more than just eye candy. There's actual gameplay to be found here, and you can use those refineries to turn your freshly mined ore and raw materials into valuable commodities you can sell on the trading consoles. And as you can see, there is a new refactored mining UI that looks a lot closer to what we already had on the multi-tool. And speaking of the multi-tool, there is a new attachment for that one, and that's a tractor beam. Actually, the first implementation of a tractor beam in the game. And it's a tiny pocket tractor beam. Tiny, but a lot of fun. And then there's newly repainted planets and moons, and 2 new space parrots. Alpha 3.12 comes with quite some new things, big and small. One of these small things is the rework of the elevator panels that mostly got lobbies and ground levels pinned. But there's big things, literally, like capital ships that security forces are going to use against those criminals, so you better be careful if you're going down that path. But the things with the biggest impact on players usually are the ones that catch your eye instantly. And one of these things are the gas clouds I mentioned earlier. And you can hardly miss them because the updated Lagrange stations most of the time sit right in the middle of one. But I guess when you got some fancy new cloud tech, there's nothing wrong about showcasing it, right? But let's get back to these stations for a second here, because some of them got a pretty big addition as well, and of course I'm talking about the new Refinery Decks. And they're not just some cool looking assets for you to look at and walk around in, you can actually use those decks now to turn your raw materials into valuable trading commodities. But of course these decks are also there for immersion, and I think it works. Just see for yourself.
Today's scheduled waste disposal has been postponed until further notice.
But like I mentioned before, these decks are far more than just scenery. Right here, going through that door on the ground level, there's a little shop that has everything a hardworking miner in Stanton could ever ask for. Armor, a new mining head, a multi-tool, you name it. And back here, you can even rent a few ships. Nothing too fancy, but reliable stuff that works. Well, mostly. But when you go up these stairs, you get to the true heart of these refinery decks, these 2 terminals. This is where you can install your refinery jobs and make the great ore of yours even better. Let's take a quick look at how that works. On this screen, you can see right away what materials this refinery is handling well or not so well. Down here, you need to select the ship with the ore in its cargo hold. In this case, it's my prospector. And at the very bottom, click Setup Work Order and you get to the next column. Now you pick the raw materials you want to include into this particular refinery job, then you pick a processing method, get quote, and confirm. By the way, the upper left corner shows the refinery's material specializations. Green means the refinery is more or less effective, red means you should really head over to another refinery instead. Of course, there's already a website out there that lists all refineries and their specializations, but knowing this community, I expected that it wouldn't take too long until something like that appears. I'll put the link in the description below. But now we still need to collect our stuff once the refinery job is done. Pick your ship from the drop-down here and click Collect. And the refinery will deliver some boxes straight to that ship's cargo hold. Now you have those boxes right here for you to sell on a trading console of your choice, or one that decides to work and allow you to sell your stuff. On every refinery deck, you'll also find some of these terminals you see here on the left. This is where you can sell your raw materials directly without processing, like you did before 3.12. On to the next subject, Mining UI Refactor. There is a new refreshed mining UI that looks a lot like what we already had on the multi-tool before, And personally, I really like that, because it doesn't matter what kind of mining you started out with, when you switch over, you'll always find the same UI elements, just slightly changed in shape, and you'll instantly know how it works. On the left, there's your laser intensity, the amount of energy I am firing at this rock here to make it glow, and on the right there is the charge level, optimal range in green and overcharge red. When you got kids that watch Paw Patrol, you'll know green means go, and red means danger, not good. Anyone gets that. And just like when mining with a multi-tool, that green area here will fill up when we manage to stay in the optimal range until we get to 100% and...
Extraction mode on.
There are 3 things in particular that I really like here. You don't just see how full your cargo hold is, you can tell exactly how much of what ore currently is in there. On the left, under Active Modules, the UI shows all currently equipped mining consumables, including a countdown when one of them is active. And finally, on the very left, you always see the most basic flight status info, even when in mining mode. Thrust, height, speed. It's not much, but really helpful. Now, I am already over 6 minutes into this video and I still haven't covered everything. Like planetary repaintings, like the new reputation system that allows you to gain standings for higher tier missions and better payouts. Or what's the deal with that Jericho station close to Microtech L1, or dynamic events altogether? And what does CIG still have in store when they tease this attack on Stanton everyone is talking about? I'm sure that in a few days from now we'll know, but I really don't want to close this video with wild speculations about this and that. I'd rather talk about stuff that's already here. Like the Talon and the Talon Shrike. One a classic light fighter variant, the other one that trades in hardpoint size for missiles. I don't really want to say too much about these ships, and certainly not if I like them or not. It's a matter of taste, and I'm not here to tell you what your taste should be like. And I bet you already decided if you hate them or love them long before you found this video. What is interesting is how one enters the ship, with that seat that slides out the front and then down, and this very special cockpit that we've already seen in the Prowler that is heavily armored and is supposed to protect the pilot better than in other glass canopy ships. And if we can trust the latest patch notes, those canopies should remain closed now for a change. I don't know where this image is coming from. If I knew, I would at least mention the source, but it's just too perfect not to include it here. But I need to come to a close now because I really wanted to stay under 10 minutes here. So the last thing I want to talk about is the first tractor beam implementation in SC, an attachment that turns your multi-tool into a pocket tractor beam. You can buy that attachment pretty much anywhere in Stanton, like I just did here at Tammany & Sons on Hurston, and then you simply equip it under Utility in your Mobi-Glass. First equip the multi-tool, then add the tractor beam attachment, save and equip, and you're done. The tractor beam is really just point and click, and it works nicely most of the time if you ignore a few graphical glitches here and there and stuff exploding for reasons. And this wraps up my quick overview of the new features of Alpha 3.12, and I'm really excited about those new dynamic events. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumb down if you didn't, thumb up if you did, and if you really want to make me happy, you click that subscribe button with notifications on. It's the easiest way to support me, and I really appreciate it. Thanks and stay healthy.